Where are you at with healthcare?
I think healthcare 100% should be socially funded. I think that Medicare and Medicaid, having programs where people who are hurt can get an operation and it's not going to bankrupt them for the rest of their life.
Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks completely are overcome by Joe Rogan's take on socialized healthcare. And honestly, I think most Americans feel the exact same way Rogan does. But here's the difference. While the Young Turks melts down over common sense, I'm going to point out what would actually need to change for socialized healthcare to function the way it should in the U.S. Let's get into it.
Is another thing that I think society should be. It should be a part of our agreement to take care of each other as a community, that we chip in money for what people would think of as socialist positions.
That is a smoking position, almost as smoking as that joint that they have on set. That was Joe Rogan, of course, and he's been going to bat for socialized healthcare. And guess what? He's done it more than once in the past month alone. Are you shocked by that, Jake?
No, not at all. He endorsed Bernie Sanders. Look, I got super frustrated with Rogan when he was on like the tear against LGBT community, in my opinion. He started talking about the groomers and
yeah, you wanted to fight him over it.
Yeah, I hated that. I couldn't stand that, right? And then I didn't like the gaslighting of he's not majority on the right. No, of course he's majority on the right. These days he voted for Trump, right? But I also don't like the gaslighting of no, he's a Trump cultist. I mean, look at that. Look at him objecting on sending the innocent guy to El Salvador, and you can go on and on. And if he was a Trump cultist all along, why did he endorse Bernie in 2016? So it just doesn't make any sense. I don't like either side gaslighting, right? So what is Rogan? He's independent. These days he has more right-wing opinions than left-wing opinions. But does he have some strong left-wing opinions? Yes. Does he actually care about right or left wing? No, not really, not too much.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So he doesn't view the world in that way, and I know a lot of us do, and then so some of us get really mad over, oh no, you're on the wrong wing, etc. And it's okay, you could fight him on the things that you disagree with. I challenged him to a physical fight over the things that I disagree with him. So I'm pretty clear on that issue. But here, I will take yes for an answer.
Yeah, look, if you're a political junkie, you're likely obsessed with an individual's label, right? Is this person left or right? Go talk to a normie about politics, and they're all over the place on what their preferences are on political issues. And so Joe Rogan is not a political figure. He's not.
This right here is a real moment of clarity from the left's favorite boogeyman, Joe Rogan. And you know what? He's right. You shouldn't have to go bankrupt because you broke your arm or got hit by a bus. That's not some radical left-wing idea. That's just basic human dignity. But let's be honest, for a system like that to actually work in America, we'd have to drain the swamp first. And notice how Cenk and Anna can't even process that. They're spinning in circles, confused. Wait, he voted for Trump, but he supports socialized medicine. How? Well, because not everyone's lives are in a hyper-partisan echo chamber. Not everyone's stuck in tribal politics. Joe Rogan's being real. He's not bought and paid for by the big pharma, unlike half the people in Congress. But here's the issue that none of them will admit. Socialized healthcare only works when you have a functional government. And we don't.
Not a political analyst. His podcast is not simply about politics. He's just a regular guy who's curious about things and has all sorts of guests on and talks about all sorts of things, right? He's not thinking about it as deeply as you think he's thinking about it, like in a political label sense.
First of all, that's true, like in terms of he doesn't really care too much about labels, etc. But also, he's not sitting there strategizing. Like, so people think like, oh, he's gonna go and say this so that he could actually win on the anti-trans agenda or whatever.
I got news for you, most people.
He's mainly getting high and then talking to a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And does he talk to too many right-wingers, which then influences him more in a right-wing direction? I think so, right?
Yeah,
but that's okay. The answer to that is talk to more left-wingers or independents or whoever the hell you like, right? But to like cancel, who are you canceling anyway? The guy's got the largest podcast. Remember, they were all gonna cancel Rogan, right?
How is he supposed to talk to left-wingers when if a left-winger goes on that show, they get totally destroyed for doing so? I mean, Bernie Sanders running for president in 2020 was absolutely skewered by the left for having the audacity to talk to the man who hosts the most popular podcast in the country at the time.
Yeah, I mean, that was at the height of the cancel culture. And yes, there was both establishment Democrats and other folks on the left who are like, no, Rogan has some unacceptable opinions, so Bernie talking to him is unacceptable, he should be canceled. Take yes for an answer, brother, which Bernie, as we're about to show you, does. But get to the point of Rogan's actual policy. Yes, of course. I mean, he uses an analogy that I use in my book about the fire department.
Okay, so let's get to that.
Yeah.
Let's watch.
I always bring up the fire department because the fire department is one of the best examples that everybody sort of agrees. It's a socialist sort of thing. You give your tax dollars, the tax dollar supports the fire department fairly puts out fires for everybody. They don't not put out your fire if you don't have any money.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't, the fires don't.
It's such a good example, but when you compare that to the way that medical access is done, at least in this country.
Look, there's a difference between us and countries like Sweden, Norway, Japan. They don't have a Pentagon that fails an audit every year. They don't have 100 billion lost in Medicaid fraud. And they sure as hell don't have lobbyists writing healthcare policies behind closed doors. So until we fix that mess, giving the US government full control over healthcare is like handing a Molotov cocktail to a monkey and hoping for the best. Now, the fire department analogy, it's a good one. The fire department doesn't ask if you're a Republican or Democrat. They just put out the damn fire. But here's the twist. In my version of the fire department, our government already let people die of treatable disease during COVID. They watched the rollout of basic care crash and burn, and they lost track of billions in pandemic funding. You want to trust those guys with everyone's health care? I don't know. But if you do, you have to fix Washington first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think most people realize we're a mixed economy, right? Like, we're not socialist, we're not fully capitalist. We have certain programs in this country, whether it's on a state and local level or a federal level, where it's socialized. Okay, Medicaid is a socialized program. Social Security, socialized. Medicare, socialized. And so we have private industry, obviously, we have private companies, they're able to function and operate the way they do. We have markets, but it makes sense to have certain areas of our society socialized so there isn't as much of a profit motive, right? So the priority is to provide the best service or care. So another good example is private prisons, where you literally have investors, you have shareholders, okay? You have a board, and you are looking to maximize profits. That is a perverse incentive because obviously you're going to want to criminalize as many human actions or human behaviors as possible to maximize your profits. Then you have, publicly run prisons. They're not great, but there isn't a profit motive and you don't have a fiduciary responsibility to return on investment to your shareholders.
Yeah, so let's expand on the fire department as I did in Justice is Coming. So in the old days, we had private fire departments and they wouldn't put out a fire if you didn't have insurance. The problem is fires spread. Same thing with viruses and with medical conditions, etc. So that's one of the many reasons why you need to socialize health insurance, not the doctors themselves. And Rogan went on a long rant about how he wants the best doctors possible. And he's not wrong about that. You can keep the entire system private except for the insurance, which is what the great majority of countries do. And every developed nation other than us does. They have the insurance public or socialized, and that gets to one of my main complaints. In this case, the number one culprit is not right-wing or left-wing media, it's mainstream media. Because in my whole life, they've never explained what socialism is. And they've never explained what a mixed economy is.
Right.
They just allow corporate politicians on both sides to call anything that helps the American people socialism, right? It's absurd, that's not true at all. And like Anna said, we have a mixed economy. Sneakers and jeans and burgers should be done by private corporations. And things like fire department, police department, things that protect your life and health insurance needs to be done by the public. Otherwise, you'll have a profit motive to literally kill people because those are your costs. Taking care of people are your costs. You wanna minimize your costs, so you wanna deny as much as possible. It's a death machine. It's insane that we allow it. No other developed nation on earth allows it. So what Rogan is saying is total common sense. By the way, Chris Williamson, another guy whose show that we've both been on, right? Yep. Another guy saying, yeah, the left is totally right about this. And of course this should be a universal health care. I love it.
So in areas where you find common ground with individuals who are to the right of you or just like full-blown, right wingers, I would say take the win. Nick, you can definitely work together in areas where you have common ground. Because look, guys, fact of the matter is most people don't agree 100% on everything, right? So if you can build alliances on specific issues to push government to go in the right direction, I say go for it.
The Young Turks just stumbled into a red pill on this one. They're not wrong, but here's what they won't say. Both political parties are in on the scam. The left protects the bureaucracy, the right protects the corporations. And you and me, well, we get screwed either way. Unless we build a real movement to strip healthcare away from profit-hungry middlemen and government grifters, we're just screaming into the void. If you want universal healthcare to work in the US, we need a ban list full of the obvious. Medicare, fraud crackdowns, real price transparency on procedures, a system that punishes failure, not rewards it. Until then, it's not socialized medicine, it's just another bloody government scam. If you believe we deserve healthcare that works, not a system that bankrupts you, smothers doctors in red tape, and rewards corruption, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Would you support socialized healthcare if it actually worked efficiently, fairly, and transparently?